Police play only a minor role in many Star Wars stories, and none at all in most, but there are several very interesting law enforcement vehicles in Star Wars. Today, let's look at a few of the best. I'm Joey from Radio Free Coruscant, and these are the best ships for police in Star Wars. Panther Police Interceptor. The first entry on this list is just a humble speeder rather than a proper ship, but that's all most police forces in the galaxy need. The Soro Sub Panther Police Interceptor was a model of air speeder used by the Coruscant Security Force and many other law enforcement agencies across the galaxy. It wasn't a highly specialized vehicle, or one that requires much description, but it was the perfect transport for weaving through the Coruscant underworld. While normally these airspeeders did not attract much attention patrolling Coruscant's tunnels and passageways responding to lower-stakes incidents, they were once involved in a very high-profile case where Coruscant security had to rescue Senator Amidala from a pair of bounty hunters. The Panther measured 5.1 meters long by about 2.7 meters wide and 1.3 tall. It had a top speed of 350 kilometers per hour, or 217 miles per hour, and was unarmed. It required one driver and could carry 3 passengers, typically an additional officer, and 2 prisoners. As mentioned, it was unarmed and had no other particularly interesting features, so while we don't know how much it cost, it was likely very affordable. Most land and air speeders cost only a few thousand credits, so I would price the Panther at around 6,000. LAAT. Getting a little closer to an actual ship, the Santh Rothana Low Altitude Assault Transport / Law Enforcement was a cumbersomely named police gunship used primarily on Coruscant and other highly populated worlds. These ships were capable of carrying squads of police officers or prisoners, engaging in combat against the dangerous criminals of the Coruscant underworld, and various utility purposes such as aiding in ship docking and transporting cargo. They were designed as a more practical version of the LAAT-I for the Coruscant Police, and were later adapted for use by the Imperial Navy as a patrol gunship and spread to many Outer Rim worlds. After the Galactic Civil War, they were seen as a symbol of Imperial oppression in most places and were retired, but in places like Coruscant that had them before the Empire, and needed a heavier police vehicle, they not only stayed in use but even received a major overhaul with a more streamlined cockpit window. The LAAT-LE measured 11.48 meters long by 5.76 meters wide and 5.43 tall. Its top speed was likely around 620 kilometers per hour or 388 miles per hour like that of the LAAT-I, and it was armed with 2 laser cannon turrets, 1 tail laser cannon, and 2 missile launchers. It was crewed by 1 pilot and 1 gunner, and had no official passenger capacity, but could seemingly carry around 10 or so individuals safely, though it was rarely seen at max capacity. Its cargo capacity was unknown as well, but it could probably carry at least a couple of Coruscant police bark speeders if necessary. And fortunately for Coruscant taxpayers, the LAAT patrol gunship cost a fairly reasonable 62,000 credits apiece. G-1A Starfighter. Moving on to the actual starships promised in the title, I think the little-known Biblos Drive Yard's G-1A Starfighter would be quite useful to law enforcement agencies in the Outer Rim territories, where they may also be tasked with patrolling space lanes and conducting some planetary defense duties. The G-1A was famous in some circles for its use by the bounty hunter Zuckuss, whose modified G-1A, the Mist Hunter, served him and his colleague Forlom very well. The ship was highly capable as a starfighter, and in a rare move for starfighters, had enough room inside for carrying either officers or prisoners. This is what makes the G-1A better for law enforcement purposes than other starfighters. It's basically like a Panther Police Interceptor, except it can go into space. The size of the G-1A is somewhat debatable. While it is described as being slightly larger than an X-Wing, the first story it appeared in described it as having multiple rooms and the capacity for 108 passengers. However, all further depictions in Legends, and especially its appearances in canon, stick to the Starfighter size, so we will do so as well. The G-1A measured 15 meters long by about 7 meters wide and 5.5 tall. It had a top speed of 1,000 kilometers per hour and a Class II hyperdrive. The ship's armament varied on the depiction, but the average G-1A appeared to carry one dual medium laser cannon turret on the nose, 2 fixed medium laser cannons, and a concussion missile launcher, though many depictions of it include only 2 of the 3. It required a pilot and co-pilot and carried 3 passengers, 1 ton of cargo, and 1 month of consumables. The ship's price was unknown. The Mist Hunter had an estimated value of 307,500 credits, but it was highly modified, so the price of a base G-1A was probably closer to 150,000. Pursuer-class Enforcement Ship. Next up is the Mandal Motors Pursuer-class Enforcement Ship, a patrol craft designed for the Mandalorian protectors before the Clone Wars. After the Clone Wars, Imperial advisors were placed on the Mandal Motors Board of Directors, who made the ship available to police forces across the galaxy. This was a very popular move among those agencies, as it was a highly capable law enforcement vessel, with prisoner cells, powerful weapons, and strong armor and shields. One of these ships even ended up in the hands of Boba Fett, replacing his original ship for a time when Slave One had been impounded after Fett's time trapped in the Sarlacc pit. While the Pursuer was not nearly as glamorous or effective as the Fire Spray, the more mundane cop ship allowed him to maintain a low profile until he was ready to go after Han Solo again. His Pursuer class, the unimaginatively named Slave 2, only served him for a few years before it was totaled in pursuit of the Millennium Falcon, put in storage, and then stolen from him. But while the Pursuer was not the correct choice for Boba Fett, it was certainly a good ship for ordinary police. The Pursuer measured 30.1 meters long by about 14 meters wide and 10 meters tall. It had a remarkable top speed for its size and brick-like lack of aerodynamics of 1,000 kilometers per hour, and a Class I hyperdrive. It was armed with a twin blaster cannon and an ion cannon turret from the factory, and many Pursuers were modified to include a proton torpedo launcher as well. It required only 1 pilot and could carry 2 guards and 5 prisoners as passengers, as well as 35 tons of cargo and 5 weeks of consumables. Its only downside was its cost, at a value of 200,000 credits new, though it was only 40,000 used. Lancer-class pursuit craft. And finally, one of the best ships for police in Star Wars is the Mandal Motors Lancer-class pursuit craft. This was very similar to the Pursuer, but larger, less expensive, and more capable, plus better looking as well, though that's entirely subjective. It had much more room inside for staging operations or storing equipment, and its tractor beam would allow it to safely and easily capture uncooperative ships or speeders. I did consider using the Fire Spray 31 instead of the Lancer, but that seemed like overkill for a police department, and I figured 1 Boba Fett ship was enough for 1 video. Plus, the Lancer is much easier to purchase, and its more conventional layout would make it easier to train pilots to fly it. The Lancer measured about 32 meters long by roughly as wide, depending on whether you got the cylindrical engines or the oblong ones, and 7 meters tall. It had a top speed of 1,050 kilometers per hour and a Class II hyperdrive. The Lancer had a crew of 2, a pilot and co-pilot, though it could be operated by just 1, and it could carry 4 passengers. It could also carry 3 months of consumables, and likely at least 30 tons of cargo. It was armed with a triple light laser cannon turret, a twin light laser cannon, and a tractor beam projector. And at a cost of just 120,000 credits, it was an excellent bargain for police departments of any size. And those are 3 of the best ships and 2 of the best speeders for police in Star Wars. Let me know which of these you would choose, or what you'd have selected instead in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a video, and watch another while you're at it. Thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you next week. RFC, out.